Hello, twin flames. Today I'm doing a special edition reading dedicated to Divine Masculine Collective. We haven't done a DM reading in a while and I feel like it's time. So the spread is going to be the past, present, and future. So we'll get a perspective of where Divine Masculines are at this point in time. But of course, it will be also, we'll get some context from something that happened in the past that matters for this current moment. And also, what do we need to know? What are we allowed to know as a masculine and feminine collective? Because I always have a lot of cross-watchers in these readings. What are we allowed to know about the future? How it's unfolding? What's ahead? Be able to use this information, hopefully in the best possible way as a guidance. Also, especially if you are on the lookout for your DM, my dear DFs, this reading could be interpreted as finding that connection and union and compassion for your inner DM, right? And thus attracting the DM on the outside. For DMs, obviously see what resonates for you, what you feel drawn to, what kind of message. But even if I'm talking about something in the past, that could be the clarity, the missing piece of the puzzle that you need to get the story whole, complete, and understand why things happened a certain way. So don't think, okay, I can skip the past because obviously I know what happened in the past and I'm not interested. What tarot gives us is not about like specifically listing what happened in your past. It's more about giving perspective, right? What happened energetically, that's energy, right? And that's what we're interpreting here. And I will start with a quick oracle message, and they're going to be for both collectives actually. So we'll start with Divine Feminine Collective. We'll get a message for you, and then we'll focus solely on Divine Masculine energy. All right, hope you guys are doing great. Encouragement. Oh, it's one of my favorite cards with giraffes. So encouragement is on the way, Divine Feminines. In whatever shape or form you need it, it's there. But don't feel like you're dependent, your state is totally dependent on that, because you can also provide that encouragement for yourself. You can turn to your guides, to your higher power for this. But this is a reminder that you're not on your own, and actually things are unfolding exactly the way that they're supposed to. For masculines, we have the spark, number 34. Actually, in the last reading, masculines got this beautiful message of new beginnings. I think it was bringing to life or something, the oracle card itself. And to me, this is a great complement to that. This is like an Ace of Wands card, but in a very artistic, very creative way. So see how you can use this momentum, Divine Masculine, to use that spark to create a flame, right? That's the point. The spark is created so you can create a flame and you can work with that energy, with that warmth, with that heat, with that power, right? So this is that momentum where when inspiration comes to you, it's important to act on it, to run with it, to flow with it. All right, with all that said, let's go into the tarot reading. So I'm gonna lay out the cards first, and then once they're all out, I'm gonna proceed with interpretation. And of course, a quick reminder, if you enjoy what I'm doing, please don't forget to like the video, and if you're new, please subscribe to the channel. So for the past, we have King of Wands, Six of Pentacles, and Four of Wands. Wow. The present, we have the Strength. By the way, we had this card for the Divine Masculines yesterday, so checks out. Ace of Cups, for sure, for sure. Heart opening energy, and King of Pentacles, beautiful. And then for the future, we have Nine of Wands, Five of Wands, a little bit more pillows that I can handle, and the Devil. All right, we're gonna talk about it in a moment. Bottom of the deck, the Moon. We just had full moon a week ago. It was also a lunar eclipse, and I can guarantee you that you're still in that energy. The eclipse energy actually is like it's covering like 3 months before, 3 months after, especially if this was an eclipse in Pisces, full moon in Pisces. Especially if that's something that is hitting your specific natal chart points or something in your progress chart, then you will definitely feel it for weeks and even for months. But for the rest of us, it's not like it happened on a Sunday and by now it's all disappeared. No, it got activated. So with the lunar energy, it's a lot about emotions and intuition. So see where you may be feeling overly emotional about something, is how I can put it in simple terms. But what it's giving you is giving you that palette. No, there should be a different word for it. But yeah, you know, like it's like giving you that range, right? It's helping you see the undertones and the nuances in what you're going through. For example, an event can be seemingly a good event, but you may still feel seemingly negative emotion about it because of certain details, right? When it came about, how it was delivered, was it everything you wanted to be? Or maybe you've worked so hard that this, like, everyone's congratulating you, but deep down you're like, but I was shooting for something much better, right? Like, the context like means everything. And these emotions that you're connecting to are helping you understand it much better. All right, with all that said, let's start with your past. I'll try for this not to be too long of a reading. But every once in a while it gets a little long, especially since I haven't really spoken to you guys in a few days, and now I'm getting back into that channeling, you know, mode, and there are a lot of messages waiting for you. But yeah, so the past, King of Wands, for Six of Pentacles, and Four of Wands. So guess what? The masculines definitely got very excited about the idea of union with the person of their dreams, let's put it that way. Some of them actually call it that way, right? Not everyone has the twin flame vocabulary, but whatever it is, their person, their soulmate, their life partner, they got really inspired with the idea that this is actually true, that this person exists. Yes, maybe there's more than one, but they definitely saw this inspiration from the divine feminine energy. Right? Like, wow, this person could actually be the one. And now I kind of understand much better what it means. How do I, you know, like people, when they're in search of true love, they don't always understand, how do I tell? And a lot of people want specifics, let's be honest. How will I recognize this person? This is one of the popular questions that people ask in tarot if they're trying to attract love and to find their person. How will I recognize them? You know, what can I know about them? So I'm looking for that specific person, right? Which is a story for another day of why it's not a great idea to really ask those questions. But yes, divine masculine saw it. They immediately understood it, that that's what it means when you meet your person, and they got inspired. They could see how this kind of connection builds them up and helps them feel even more empowered and not strong in a toxic way or manipulative way, but strong in terms of like, I can protect and provide for my feminine. I can be the head of the household. I can be a father figure, you know, like all these things. And I don't need to like stretch myself too thin for that. I can be in my power by, you know, being myself, expressing myself authentically. It all happens, right? And of course, the Six of Pentacles, it's about the exchange. How do we move from codependency or trauma bonding towards something healthy where we don't need to walk on eggshells, we don't need to impress the person all the time. And masculines are particularly notorious for this, right? Like wanting to impress their feminine, right? And so this kind of launched a lot of different thoughts and even events in real life for the masculines to see what that equal give and take looks like, what a true life partnership is like. I don't only say love necessarily, because love is like, it could be, there are so many different types of love, let's put it that way. So to me, I don't really like that term. Some people still think even when they say the word relationship, a lot of people immediately think of the romantic partnership. But we have relationships with so many different people. You know, even in our close circle, there's still this plural of relationships. And in all of them, the baseline is still the same stance. Yes, it will socially manifest in maybe different types of activities, different amount of time that you're spending together, maybe even a little bit different in terms of the way that you communicate with each other. But the baseline, the values, the energies is still going to be the same. So I personally choose not to use the term relationship when I'm specifically speaking a romantic relationship, or use love as a term for a romantic partnership, right? To me, love is a much broader term. But look at that. In the present, divine masculines are filling up their cup, and they're seeing the big difference of how every aspect of their life suddenly changes. They see the connection between filling up their cup emotionally and how it manifests in results in their business, in their lifestyle, at home, in like different very practical aspects of life, right? And it's encouraging them to, like, again, the Strengths card essentially is also a connection between the masculine and the feminine. So it kind of strengthens that bond that I was just talking about, that got ignited in the somewhere in the past, about, you know, just being myself, not going out of my way to impress someone, not lying, not pretending, but just being myself. That's, you know, with the right person, that's impressive enough. And that's the only thing that's going to be truly impressive for that special someone, right? So that encourages opening up the heart chakra and the solar plexus, of course, with the strength here. And that means that there's more vulnerability between the two, right? That's where that connection, like, blossoms, I would say. That's the word that comes to me, right? And there's still a gap. Like, the masculine still see, like, you see this, like, the beast and the girl. They still feel like they're different species, or the feminine is, right? I'm not saying that they're super comfortable in their skin and they're just, like, casually moving things along. No. But there's a lot more trust in being vulnerable and opening up and wanting to open up about who I really am, mistakes that I've made, you know, what I'm worried about, but also what I'm excited about. And then for the future, we have 9 of Wands, 4 of Wands, and the Devil. A lot of fire here, I'll be honest with you. The Devil, though, is the Capricorn energy, to be honest, but there's still fiery vibe here. And that is a great reminder that that fiery energy can be used for good or for evil. So it's very important to stay on track with your healing work, with your shadow work, divine masculine, because there is a very good chance that you're going to create additional karmic cycles in the future when you at some point get too overconfident, right? Or you feel like whatever shortcomings you have, or addictions, you know, or insecurities, that it's all just part of the process and they don't need to be dealt with because it's part of who you are, right? We're not saying that, you know, who we are right now is very important, but it doesn't mean that we are standing still, right? It's still about growing. It's about expanding your consciousness. It's about healing from past wounds, because that's what's going to encourage the new connections to be of a much higher quality. So it's important not to let ego get in the way of these dreams coming true, that you have this beautiful new beginning energy in the air right now. There's so much to look forward to, I would say. And so much you can do with this momentum. But it will work for you as long as you don't let the ego step in and get overzealous or arrogant, or feel like you don't really need to do the work, right? Because this is just what it is. You're already perfect the way you are, you know? Like, we keep hearing and reading and listening to all these cliche phrases, and for a lot of people, the reason that they don't work is because they take it too far, right? Like, you're beautiful in every single way, obviously. Yes, everyone is. But it doesn't mean that there's nothing to improve, nothing to work on in a healthy way. Not because you feel insecure, but because you're curious what's out there, What is my true potential? How can I remove the blockages so I have more capacity for love and wisdom and kindness and making a difference and presenting myself, right? And healing, maybe not just for myself, but for the entire lineage before me, and making a difference for the generations to come. Like, think about that, how hopefully exciting that is. And, you know, that's all part of the process where you contribute to bettering yourself in an authentic way, in a loving way, right? Being that loving and responsible parent to yourself, so that you don't push yourself with force into this mode of healing, but you're consciously making those decisions still. It's very important for us, especially since humans are the conscious beings in the animal kingdom, right? We are supposed to be making these choices. That's part of the arrangement here. Okay, with all that said, I'm gonna leave it here. Thank you so much for joining me today. Please don't forget to like the video and subscribe to my channel. And until next time,